Welcome, everyone. I'm glad to have you here today. We're about to start a presentation on a very important topic: where to hold the funeral prayer. This is the first slide, so let me just briefly introduce what we'll be covering. We'll explore the key considerations and guidelines for holding the funeral prayer in different settings. So, let's get started and delve into this meaningful subject together. Let's take a closer look at the key points about where to hold the funeral prayer. First, the slide mentions a narration attributed to Abu Huraira, where the messenger of a is quoted as saying that whoever offers the funeral prayer in the mosque will have no reward. Now, this hadith is found in Sunan Ibn Majah, Hadith 1517. Different Islamic schools of thought interpret this differently. The Maliki school, for example, considers offering the funeral prayer in a mosque as not allowed. The Hanafi school also advises against praying inside a congregational mosque for funerals. The Shafi school goes a step further, suggesting that the funeral prayer should not be performed in a mosque at all. They also mention that praying at the cemetery is disliked, citing a hadith where the messenger of a said that the earth is a mosque except for graveyards and hammams. On the other hand, the Hanbali school views this hadith as weak and considers that the funeral prayer can be performed either inside or outside the mosque. They even suggest that praying outside the mosque might be preferable in some cases. So the main takeaway here is that there are differences among scholars regarding the exact place for the funeral prayer, but a common theme is the importance of considering the context, local customs, and the specific school of thought when deciding where to hold it. This connects to our overall theme of understanding proper funeral practices in Islam and respecting diverse scholarly opinions. Copyright Copyright 2025 by Continuous Learning Development. Today, I want to share an important story from the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Abd b. Abdullah b. Zyaba reported, on the authority of Al-Asha, that when Sud b. Abu Waqqas passed away, the wives of the Messenger of Allah sent a message. They asked to bring Sud's bier into the mosque so that people could pray for him. The funeral participants did as requested, placing the bier in front of their apartments, and they offered prayer for him there. The bier was brought out through a door called Bab ul-Janaz, which was near the Mecca area. But then, news reached the wives of the Prophet that some people criticized this act. They said it was not appropriate to bring the bier into the mosque. This criticism upset Al-Asha, who responded by saying, "How hasty people are to criticize something they know little about." She pointed out that the Prophet himself did not forbid funeral prayers in the mosque. In fact, he performed the funeral prayer of Sahal b. Buddha inside the mosque, in its innermost part. This teaches us that there is no real harm in offering funeral prayers in the mosque, provided it doesn't lead to impurity or disruption. As stated in Fiqh as-Sunnah, Volume 4, page 53, the key is ensuring cleanliness and order. So, when it comes to where to hold the funeral prayer, the main consideration is whether it can be done without causing disturbance or impurity. This example highlights the importance of understanding the context and the flexibility within Islamic practices regarding funeral prayers. It's essential to remember that the overall goal is to respect the deceased and uphold cleanliness and dignity in the mosque.